C, and then Savage Bloodlust in support. I think that may be a sub for this match. And then Credible Hulk and friends are fielding Maristamatic in top, Hulk, Winged Nation, Itumbo, and Maxane.
Yeah, it should be a very exciting match between these two guys here. I do really like watching Nice Guy's top lane in action. He's a heavy carry, I find, in on their team, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to bring out. On the side of Hulk and friends there, really excited to see what Hulk's going to bring to the table. He brings a lot of different jungle pressure and different jungle like awareness, and it's really fun just watching him where he goes and what he's going to be doing this game.
Yeah, I've cast Nice Guys once before, but I don't believe I've cast Credible Hulk yet this season. So I'm going to be interested to see how they play. I don't believe we have pro drafts for this game, so I'm not sure if we're just going to get right into game here. But the compositions are on the side of Nice Guys. They have a Xin Zhao top, Morgana jungle, Talia mid, Ezreal, Nautilus bot lane. And then on the side of Credible Hulk, it is a Set, Kha'Zix, Syndra, and then Lucian, Sona in the bot lane.
Yeah, so without further ado, folks, let's jump right into game here and talk about matchups.
Yeah, so there's some pretty spicy picks. Holo the Wise, I just played the Morgana build. Yeah, so we did go Glacial Augment. I believe he's done this before. And Morgana has decent clear. Her ganks can also be very good, particularly pose 6. But like a lot of mages, she is kind of vulnerable to being invaded or caught on Scuttle because her cooldowns aren't super low, and she's not going to auto attack you to death. The Xin Zhao pick top is interesting. Xin is actually a very powerful early top laner. I've previously played against like Exhaust Ignite Xin Zhao top, which is basically just you don't get to play top lane. If you ever exist within E range of Exhaust Ignite Xin, he kills you. He did go teleport flash here.
Oh, they found they found her! Wait, run away! Flash out from Sona, but they do get the Dark Harvest prac on the Talia. So overall win on the side of Nice Guys.
Yeah, so they do get a sum for no cost themselves. It looks like they might be going for the blue buff steal here, which is going to be mirrored by Maristamatic and Hulk. But they're actually backing out. So if Berserker doesn't check this, Morgana's going to lose her blue buff, which is probably going to be a serious issue because Morgana's W has a very high mana cost. It's like 70 at level 1. Yeah, and she didn't even start with W. She started with Q to try for the invade. So she's going to be very mana hungry and slow clearing here. Hulk should easily be able to pick up this blue buff and probably get most of the rest of the top side. Alright, Morgana does hit her level 2. She does get the W. She's going to order her blue buff right now. I think she's going to run into... No, she's passing the other way! She doesn't know that he's doing the wolves!
Oh no, this could go... And she blast planted. I'm not sure if Kha'Zix even saw her on his ward there.
I think...
Did they? No way!
I think he did. So, he's got to figure out a way... Yeah, he's going to be able to just walk out of here, and Morgana's not even going to realize.
Solid Snake Kha'Zix coming in hot. Great steal on the blue buff onto the wolves. Morgana doesn't even know what's going on here, but
yeah, he should be able to.
It's gonna be a hard clear for her.
Yeah, she's gonna be so mana hungry, even with the enhanced mana regen from Hunter's Talisman. The Hunter's items did get buffed, and they now give increased healing when you're below 30% health. But I don't believe that applies to the mana regen from Hunter's Talisman. So, yeah, Morgana, okay, she is going to do her Raptors here. And she does take Raptors very well because of the amount of AoE damage that she gets from her W, Tormented Shadow. And it's going to heal her up. So she's going to be pretty healthy. Wow, she's actually way better off on mana than I expected here.
Yeah, the clear is really nice on the Morgana there. Even without blue buff, the W really just helps her clear fast and keep her really sustained well. And she's actually going to be counter-invading the Kha'Zix here. Smites away the blue buff and gets first blood onto the Kha'Zix.
Yeah, and Hulk wasn't level 3, so her smite does do a slight bit more damage, probably about 30 more damage than his does. So she just walks up, smites it away, and he's already half health because Kha'Zix's first clear is not super healthy, and so Hall of the Wise is just like, hey, I'm gonna take that buff from you, mate.
Yeah, and on top of that, because Morgana went from her red buff over to her Grump, when she smited away the blue buff there, she got to level 3.
Yeah, and Kha'Zix was not yet level 3, so he also didn't have as much in the way of health or defensive stats to try to survive her damage. I mean, look, so it is going to be an air drag first, which for Nautilus and Morgana is pretty good. They're champions who depend a lot on their ultimates. I'm looking at CS. It's pretty even. To be honest, given that Merstmatic is not only not behind, but it's actually ahead on CS, that's very much a win for him. Xin Zhao top doesn't have incredible wave clear, and he kind of has to choose between, like, bruiser items, like Triforce, Lifesteal, or wave clear with, like, a Tiamat, and he can't get all of them at once. So if he's not kind of ahead and snowballing, he's going to actually fall behind and not bring as much as Seth because he's not going to be as tanky. And he's not going to sort of have that one lane that a Xin Zhao top depends on.
Looks like we're going to see a top lane little skirmish with the Taliyah and Xin Zhao fighting off the Kha'Zix and Set here. Kha'Zix going to be going on an engage onto the Taliyah. They're going to be chunking her down. Xin Zhao immediately responding back, going on to Kha'Zix here, getting the kill onto him. Syndra has now roamed up, picks up a kill on Taliyah, and Morgana's here, seeing if she can grab a Q or a pick for something for the Xin Zhao. She does land a nice binding, but Xin Zhao just is in an awkward spot and really hard to get over to those positions.
Yeah, he actually was interrupted out of his E, Audacious Charge, which did go on cooldown, so he didn't have any way to get to the Syndra. Winged Nation does pick up Xiennial. Xiennial has to burn his heal and his flash to survive the Set and Kha'Zix damage, and then Winged Nation just like walks up and auto attacks him twice for the kill. So it's a 2-for-1, sorry, a 1-for-1, which I think would favor Berserker because he got the kill and Merstmatic only got an assist.
Yeah, and you see him immediately re-engaging onto the Set. Sends out an incredible duelist that really can just punish the Set pretty hard in lane here. And Set's not going to have a good time.
Yeah, especially because Xin Zhao has sustain that works off of the wave. His every third attack heals him for 45. So he's kind of like Cho'Gath or Maokai, where if you leave him alone with the wave for any length of time, he's going to just be full health again. He's going to pick up a plate here. Set is going to go for the Bork build, but I'm actually not sure I like that here. It's pretty standard, but I've actually found that Triforce and Tiamat can be really good against squishies, because the issue with the Bork build is that it gives you no defense until you've completed Bork, and you kind of want to do Bork first. And so it's like 2,700 gold, 3,300 actually, maybe.
You see a little nice hot engage onto the Syndra. The Xin Zhao not quite landing his W onto her as well. She's going to flash away for her life. And now they're going to probably just do another reset after picking up the Cloud Drake as well.
Yeah, that's just it's a very good flash. She waits until he's already done the swipe. He goes for the stab, and she flashes out of that. They're waiting for Berserker here.
Yeah, they're going to go in. Xin Zhao immediately ulting and going on to the Kha'Zix here. Taliyah has joined the fight as well. Set going on to the Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao flashing into the Baron Pit. The Haymaker coming out from the Set. The Taliyah has no mana. There's no way she can stop this man. If Set can pick him up, he does go for the flash Q, get the kill on to the Taliyah. Now they're going to do another re-engage with Morgana here. They're going to go back in, but Set doesn't really care. He's pretty beefy and has maximum grit right here, so this is going to be nice damage. Syndra coming around the corner, getting a nice stun off of Morgana. An ulti going off onto the Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao does pick up the kill onto Set, and Syndra does pick up the extra kill onto the Morgana, making a double kill there. We do see a fight happening bot lane, massive wave going in the side of Incredible Hulk and friends, but that'll be the end of that. That was a really long, interesting trade here.
Yeah, and I saw that there was an error there from Merstmatic. He held the Haymaker too long. So Set's Haymaker is very different from an ability that it reminds me of is Mordekaiser's W, Indestructible, where you charge it up while you're in combat and you get a shield from it. But the difference is that Indestructible decays when you're out of combat. If it's fully charged and you stop fighting something, after a few seconds, it will fall off. Grit works differently. it tracks individual damage sources. So if you get hit by 5 auto attacks in sequence, it tracks each auto attack, and each one falls off after 4 seconds. So if you have full grit stacks, you can't just keep taking damage to stay full grit, because those early grit effects will start falling off, and he lost that full charged haymaker, and he didn't get as much damage or shielding out of it as he could have, and he does fall to Berserker in the trade kill there. Berserker is going to be going for Mana Immune. I've started seeing more top laners, particularly AD top laners, go for this. It's a lot of AD. Mana Immune is, as far as first item AD goes, one of the highest AD items you can get, and it's relatively affordable. On a champion who I wouldn't call Xin Zhao's mana costs high, but he does have to kind of spam them to fight, so...
Ooh. And you do see that Glacial Augment gank there. She walks up, goes in the middle of lane, auto-attacks a Syndra, puts down an ulti, and now you see another re-engaged bot lane. Nautilus actually having to flash for his life there, but Taliyah coming in hot that lane with the another Dark Harvest proc. Kha'Zix re-engaging onto the Nautilus, getting the heal off from the Ezreal, and they're going to do some nice damage. Getting a pick, actually, onto Kha'Zix. That's going to be big. They're almost going to be taking down the Sona as well. They have to return on to the Lucian. He is out of mana. All he's got is auto attacks. He's going to be able to take him. He does get the 1 kill. He is going to be going onto the Nautilus, but here is Taliyah coming in, getting another stack coming up. Gee, buff transfer complete. Flashing, trying to get the Sona, but the minions say, "Get down, Mr. President," as she walks away.
Yeah, that's super close. And I was going to say, I wanted to give a lot of credit to Itumbo and Maxane in this lane, because, like, Nautilus is one of Sona's natural predators. He's really good against squishy, immobile enchanters that can't run away from him. But not only has Maxane not died yet, but they're even in CS on a lane where Nautilus could have really threatened to zone them out. They do overcommit there. Holk goes in a little too deep. Probably once he saw the heal come out of Ezreal, he should have bailed, because he got hooked into tower, and the Ezreal True Shot Barrage did do enough damage to take him out. But Itumbo goes in, knows that even with Ezreal having the double buffs, the press the attack proc means that he does have the damage to trade there. And to be honest, if it weren't for CasualEAL coming in, he probably gets both kills there, because Nautilus was low and out of mana, and he had red and blue buff for extra damage and mana to reset his mana pool, so he would have been easily able to take out the Nautilus there.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of great communication coming from both sides here. Just really, like, when a team fight erupts on one side of the map, you see almost everyone roam down. Whoever's close, they're joining in a fight.
Yeah, and CasualEAL's using his ult very well, because the thing with Taliyah, and I've talked about this on cast before, is that whenever you are a champion with a non-combat ultimate, usually roaming ultimates like Twisted Fate or Tahm Kench, a lot of it comes down to how well you can use that, because in a straight-up fight, Syndra's ult does something. Taliyah's ult maybe displaces people or traps them, but it's about using it to get picks and to roam across the map, and CasualEAL's using his passive well and his ult well to get across the map and to have an impact, and he's now 3-2-1, even though he's been out of lane, so he's basically even with the Syndra, who does also have 3 kills. Looks like Plate's pretty even, though the Plate is going to go down in mid lane here. Yeah. They're going to pick up a dragon on the side of Gneiss guys. Sorry, I had to remember who was blue side for a moment. The extra armor and MR will definitely do a lot for Nautilus. Support tanks really kind of depend on specific things like Gargoyle Stone Plate or their built-in tankiness, because they don't have the money to have the tank items that a solo laner does. But having a little bit of armor and MR will do a lot to help them front line, and it'll help Berserker a lot too, because he doesn't have any defense yet.
Yeah, you do see the ulti coming out from the Taliyah. Kha'Zix's going to be jumping over the wall, going on to 3 members of the enemy team here, but he has to flash back over to his team. Berserker's in the middle of all of them here. Massive ulti, saving him from the Syndra ultimate. Here is Set, but going to get caught up with the Morgana Q. He is going to get a double knock-up with the Nautilus ultimate as well. He is going to be ulting the Nautilus back into his team there, but does fall to the Nautilus. They're going to be re-engaging on to Lucian there. Are they going to be able to pick up the Syndra? It looks like it's going to be a nice disengage. Taliyah does get a lot of great damage there. Unable to pick up the kill on Syndra, and now they're going to be able to pick up a lot of turret plates as well.
Yeah, Itumbo's out of mana. Winged Nation's too low, so they're not able to defend this tower. The Talia ult was excellent there. It forces Lucian to dash back across the wall to save himself, so he then can't rejoin the fight. Holk, meanwhile, jumps over the wall, but he gets caught by the teleport from Berserker and run down an excellent crescent guard from the Xin Zhao. Like, he should have been dead there after he flashed into 3 of them with just a man immune, but the crescent guard gives him enough immunity to walk his way out of there. Savage Bloodlust is like, well, the set's really low, I'll just auto attack him, I guess. And even with the set ult, they're not able to pick him up in return. He just walks out. And that's the issue with this Bork build, is that Merstomatic is very squishy. He needs to essentially free time to sort of auto-attack someone to really fight effectively. But he can't stand in the middle of 4 people and tank damage because he doesn't have any health or any resist. He needs more items to be able to do that. Like, if you're going to go Bork on set, in my opinion, you need to kind of be committing to a long laning phase or to split pushing. Because if you try to team fight before you get to your second item, you're really squishy. And you can really take a lot of damage in a hurry. I don't know if Berserker needed to ult there. I think he probably could have fought that even.
I think he was kind of not sure if the Kha'Zix was around, but it may be just like a miscommunication. No one really knew where Kha'Zix was, and it's safer than anything. They have Cloud Dragon, 10% CDR on the ultimate. Not too bad. It's going to be up relatively soon for the next team fight anyways.
Yeah, and notably, he is sitting on 1,700 gold. He hasn't backed yet, whereas Merstomatic, since he died, just came out of base with his Bork. And so he may have wanted to be like, look, I've got a lot of gold. I want to spend it before I try to fight again, which I think is sensible.
Yeah. And you do see a Syndra massive ulti, almost taking out the Talia. Talia having to flash away from the Q there. Morgana coming in to just hold back the lane. You have Set and Kha'Zix here as well on the flank lines. And then an engage onto Lucian with the Nautilus. Nice Q there, but Ezreal is in a little bit further back position, just kind of being a little bit safer. Q going out from the Kha'Zix, but that Morgana is isolated, and down she goes to the Hulk himself.
Yeah, that's good. Hulk needed a kill. He was 0-5, and on an assassin, like, assassins who are ahead don't do very much. Because the issue with them is that if you're
sorry. So close. So close top side.
If you're a bruiser, like a Set, or a Xin Zhao, or a Warwick, you always have the option of building full tank. I mean, Warwick tends to build full tank after Titanic Hydra anyway, but like, you could say, look, I've got my 1 damage item, or my Triforce, or my Cleaver, or whatnot. I'm just going to build tank and be a frontline. But assassins don't really have that option. They don't have the defensive stats or abilities or crowd control to function as just a tank. Like, Set can just be an ult and stun bot if he really needs to. You know, something like a Warwick or a Vi can be like, look, I'm just here to lock people down and absorb damage, but like, Kha'Zix doesn't do that. He's got a slow. He needs to be doing damage to do, that's the reason you pick Kha'Zix, and so he needs that gold to get back into this game. He does complete his warrior, completes his boots, starting on what I would assume would be the first of a couple lethality items.
Yeah, we're going to see probably a team fight erupt soon with the Dragon respawning in about a couple seconds here, actually. Huge pick onto the Kha'Zix, almost taking him out 100-0 with the Cotilia combo. And then Syndra showing her how it's done, taking out the Morgana. And then they're going to go onto the Nautilus, taking out the Nautilus. The Talia does pick up the Sona here, the TP coming down from the Set, and Zhao roaming. They're going to try and get the Syndra caught off. There's going to be 2 people in like the little corner there. They really got their backs to the walls. But in goes Zhao, nice ultimate going in, but then does fall down to the Kha'Zix with this, the Set rather, Talia picking up the Kha'Zix, and then Ezreal going on to Set. We're going to see Syndra, she's really low, but they're going to be doing the flank. She does flash over the wall, and that should be a nice clean Dragon pick for the side of Nice Guys.
Yeah, they should get the 3rd one here. So at the beginning of the fight, like, right now, the main point in favor of Credible Hulk is Winged Nation. Syndra is really strong. She's 4-1. Like, you see, she hits Morgana with the Q stun, and then just ult her and Morgana dies from 100 to 0. Because this Morgana has, you know, no defense, no health. I'm not sure if she used her stopwatch there, if it was earlier. And they pick off the Nautilus, who goes in but gets hit by the Sona ult. but then they don't really have a front line anymore. Kha'Zix takes a massive amount of damage from the Talia. Set not having a lot of CDR, not any at that point, means that he doesn't have a second Haymaker up to save himself. And they're just sort of pushed out of the fight because they can't stand up to the damage from Singissia and CasualEAL, who are both pretty strong here, sitting on about 1.5 items. So I think what they need to do on the side of Credible Hulk, because the next dragon could potentially be Soul for Nice Guys, and an Infernal Soul is going to be just dynamite for these champions. It's going to give Talia even more burst. It's going to make Ezreal poke even more threatening. What they need to do is they need to look for picks around the Syndra, because she right now has the damage to kill anyone if she catches them. So I think what they need to do is essentially Sona needs to sort of sit with the Syndra around any kind of fight and use her ult to guarantee that whoever Syndra stuns dies. Because someone like Morgana might be able to shield it, or if she gets her Zhonya's, use that. Someone like Ezreal might be able to jump out of the combo if they're fast enough. And they just need to sort of use Syndra to kill Talia or Ezreal and then win the fight from there. Because Syndra has the damage. She can easily kill these carries, but they need to make sure that she has the setup, and the rest of the team needs to play defense for the Syndra at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be probably a little bit of like a quick reset, getting a couple of those towers, get that extra money coming in, and then preparing for the next dragon, that being Soul, and that being just a huge win clause for them as well. They're in their jungle, trying to see if they can grab some picks here. Not sure if they're going to be able to grab anything, but they do see the Kha'Zix right over the wall onto the Morgana, immediately blowing her up and taking her out, but then the return kill onto the Kha'Zix. You do see the Nautilus onto the Lucian, onto the Sona there. Nautilus flashing out of that fight. You do see the Syndra getting engaged on by the Xin Zhao. Down goes Syndra. They're going to be going on to Xin Zhao, taking out the set here. Double kill going out for Ezreal, and then they're going to keep going, trying to see if they can grab some more. But again, big win on the side of Nice Guys. They have been a team dominated, just overall great play and showing it in incredible fashion here, taking one step at a time and really just showing them what their team comp does.
Yeah, and I believe Savage Bloodlust, Demolish was... Okay, they won't need it here, but he still has Demolish if they want to push for an additional tower. They probably won't after the inhib. The Rift Herald is very low. They might be able to grab one more charge.
One more? No, here comes Lucian.
Yeah,
down goes the Herald.
Which I think is fine. Like, the Herald was an auto attacker too from death. I think what could have changed that fight there was Marista Matic grabbed Nautilus with the Facebreaker. If he, instead of ulted him with the Showstopper, he would have hit like 2 people and then could have used Facebreaker for the stun. And I see a lot of sets do this. If you're looking to start a team fight, the combo is not Facebreaker first, because you use Facebreaker first in lane, but in a team fight, it's Showstopper into Facebreaker, because your goal is to grab the tank or the diver or whoever, throw them into their team, and then get a multi-person stun from there, and then look to do damage instead of for your team. And I think it's just like a reflex for a lot of set players at this point, but when you're looking at a team fight, you do need to use the Showstopper first, because at this point with only Kindle Gem, sets cooldowns are relatively long. 14.5 seconds on Facebreaker, 11 seconds on Haymaker. And so he's not going to get more than one Facebreaker off in a fight unless it's very extended. Looking at summoner spells, Winged Nation is about to have flash up, which is very important because it means that he will be safer in this potential dragon fight. Maxane and Holk still do not have their flashes, whereas it looks like everyone but Savage Bloodlust has the flashes up on Nice Guys. So Holk and Maxane need to make sure they're not caught out because they don't have that summoner spell to try to escape. Nice Guys are establishing a really good vision line here. They will know everything that happens in this jungle, even with that one ward down, which is going to be instantly replaced. Glacial.
Ooh, nice, like, Morgana Q there. They're getting a lot of good chip damage onto the set. Him actually having to flash out of the fight. A huge combo from Talia, almost picking up the center. Here comes Xin Zhao onto the back lines as well. They're going to be picking up the Sona here, and huge damage coming out from Syndra, almost exploding Morgana, but it's not going to be enough. As they go over the wall and take out the Syndra, that's going to be Infernal Soul for Nice Guys.
Yeah, it's a really good flank by Berserker, which forces Winged Nation out of the fight, because he sees the Xin Zhao coming, and notably Berserker doesn't actually charge him. I'm not sure who he dashed to, but in either case, Winged Nation is like, oh, I'm about to be killed by this Xin Zhao, who is Man Immune and Death's Dance. And he ults and then flashes out, which actually takes him out of the Crescent Guard, so his ult doesn't do much damage to the Xin Zhao. He gets a good trade back with a Dark Sphere Scatter the Weak, but Ezreal just goes over the wall. I think actually Zionil flashes over the wall too. They pick up the Syndra. I think they're probably looking to end here. Everyone is up for Credible Hulk and Friends, but given how healthy everyone is on the side of Nice Guys, and Morgana can even heal off the wave because she does heal off large minions.
Wait, did anyone see that Ezreal damage? That was
wow, yeah, this
Ezreal onto Sona and almost OHKOing her with it.
Yeah, he's got Triforce, he's got full Muramana, he's starting on what I would assume would be Bork, that's usually the third, though I've seen a lot of Ezreal's going Death's Dance now, which is really potent, I think. And whereas, you know, Itumbo is still sitting on his second item, Savage Bloodlust like, hey, I don't actually take that much damage from you.
He does ulti the Kha'Zix, and the Kha'Zix just gonna get the red buff and says no more. Backs away, but here comes Ezreal. He has that nice damage we were talking about earlier. And one more auto attack, and down goes the Kha'Zix. And they're either going to probably either do a reset here and force down and end the game, or be really safe, grab the Baron, another inhibitor, and then end the game from there.
Yeah, my guess would be Baron here. Morgana and Talia are just coming out of base. The only concern here is the low mana on Savage Bloodlust. He probably doesn't have enough mana to really sustain an extended engagement, so he might need to back after this Baron. But the rest of them are going to be healthy enough that after getting this Baron, they'll just transition to top lane, push for that last turret, and then maybe look to end. Or maybe they're just looking at... Okay, they are going to take a reset here. You do get 300 gold apiece for killing Barons, so things like the Morellonomicon, the Bilgewater Cutlass on Ezreal. If you're in a situation where you're like, hey, I just want to use this gold to finish off an item, then that's fine. And they should probably be looking top here. It's the only place where there are towers left. The tier 2 still gold. They have about a 9,000 gold lead, but you can always make that bigger because they haven't finished. They're not full build. They're mostly on 2 items, 3 for the Talia. They're looking potentially for a pick in the jungle here, but most of Credible Hulk are sitting in base and trying to clear because they don't have the ability to really push Vision out. And I want to give a shout out to Berserker. He's only 4-2, but given this build, I would have expected him to have died a lot more. The issue with something like Muramana, Death Dance, and Zhao, and I talk about this probably every week I cast, is I love healing champs. I play a lot of them, but healing champs are usually dependent on fighting people to do damage. And on something like the Xin Zhao build, if you get comboed with like a Sona stun, you're just gonna die without being able to lifesteal him. But Berserker is doing really well, knows when he can go in, when he can't, not, you know, taking too much damage until he feels like he's...
There goes the engage onto the set with the Q from the Nautilus there, getting massive damage down, and then they're gonna be picking up another kill here as well. Gonna take down the Lucian, and that's... I think that's gonna be one... Yeah, there it goes. Okay, yeah, Ezreal just does that. Oh, wow. The Ezreal damage always baffles me every time I see it. And down goes the next turret, and then down goes the Nexus. GG, Nice Guys.
Yeah, 27 minutes, very solid win. There were, like, the Syndra was really good, and I think the bot lane performance from Credible Hulk was also good. Just like the snowballing.
Yeah, it was overall great gameplay, and you see them just kind of doing the step-by-step process that I see a lot of teams do in this league here, where they go, okay, step 1, laning phase, step 2, look for picks and objectives, step 3, get some major turrets, get some extra gold, get that extra lead, and start snowballing into an end game situation like we see here.
Yeah, I think if I was going to change something up for game 2 for Credible Hulk is more of a front line. because the set was kind of behind, and that set build needs to be ahead to be tanky, and Kha'Zix is not a tank, and you have a Sona support. So I don't know if you need to go like a hard tank, but I think either putting Meristematic on a tank or getting like a bruiser jungler or a more tanky support would be good there, just to let them absorb some of that damage.
Mm-hmm. And as in response here, what would you say would be like the MVP and ace of the game?
I think MVP. See, I'm torn between Morgana and Talia, but I think I'm gonna go with the Talia for Xyenial, because just, great picks to start off every fight. Basically, the beginning of every objective began with him getting the Seismic Shove and Unraveled Earth, I think, is the minefield. I don't remember what called the name, but basically, someone always was at half health because he always hit them with that combo at the beginning. And then my choice for ace, definitely Syndra on Winged Nation. Tremendous damage, great burst, good positioning as much as possible. And really, for a point, looked like he was positioned to take over the mid-game fights and sort of carry. But the sort of multi-dimensional threat from the Xin Zhao and the pick potential from the Talia Morgana did win the day for Nice Guys.
Yeah, very well said, and great game overall here. Very fun to watch, and I'm super excited to see what they're going to be bringing in the second game. So when we come back, folks, we're going to go right into Game 2 of Incredible Hulk and Friends versus Nice Guys. Hello and welcome back, folks. We're going into Game 2 of Nice Guys versus Incredible Hulk and Friends here. Great game overall, what we saw last time here between them. And just kind of the Nice Guys pace is what I really enjoy and what I really want to see more in this next couple games here. We're going to see probably just the same kind of performance, team-based oriented team fights. A lot of that. And I really enjoy seeing what what they bring to the table with that. And then I want to see what they're going to be kind of bringing this game as well. Now, Phoenix, what do you think should we be looking for this game? Do you think we don't have pro drafts, but what do you think would we want to see from both sides of the teams? And what do we want to see change? And what do we want to see more of, kind of thing?
So I want to see more frontline from Incredible Hulk and Friends. I feel like that was one of their weaknesses in the previous game, and that they didn't have a good champion who could frontline and just absorb damage, which meant that the squishies had to kind of face check around objectives, and they were just too vulnerable to getting bursted down or chunked down, and then forced out of that fight. So either a pure tank or something that is at least kind of more bruisery, that can be that first one in, as it were. In terms of nice guys. I think keeping up the control around the objectives, and maybe putting some attention on the mid lane, because Winged Nation did have a very good performance, had a lot of early kills, and was kind of in a position to try to carry the game for a while. And so I think that making sure that CasualEAL has the advantage over Winged Nation is going to be important.
Yeah, very well said there. And well, I'm just gonna quickly run over the roster that we have going on here. So in the top, we have on the side of Nice Guys, we have Malphite in the top lane. We have Credible Hulk and friends. We have Malphite in the top lane, Elise in the jungle, Tristana mid, and then we see the Vigar and Leona. This might be swapped. They might have swapped roles here. And on the side of Nice Guys, we have Berserker in the Tryndamere top lane, Polo the Wise as Zyra in the jungle. We see the CasualEAL as Kassadin mid, and we see the Zaya and Braum bot lane.
So I do like the addition of the Malphite Leona. That's definitely the tanky frontline I think they needed. Malphite versus Tryndamere is interesting. Tryndamere will win early. Malphite doesn't have a lot of damage early, and he's very mana hungry early, whereas Tryndamere obviously has no mana and lots of damage, particularly since he took the Ignite. But if Merstomatic doesn't fall too far behind, it can swing back in Malphite's favor in the mid game once he gets some armor and he gets some levels in his E, because that attack speed slow really shuts down Tryndamere's damage output. Holk of the Wise, again, going with this sort of support pick mage in the jungle. CasualEAL taking a bit more of a scaling pick with the Kassadin. The lane should go to Winged Nation side. I'm pretty sure that's a Tristana mid because he did take Ignite, and Itumbo took the heal. I think if they were going to be switching, then Winged Nation wouldn't have gone with Ignite.
Yeah, very interesting combination there. I'm kind of excited to see what the Yordle and the woman with the shield is going to be bringing to us bot lane.
I'm curious about the Glacial Augment on the Braum. Savage Bloodlust did take it, because I don't usually think of Braum as taking Glacial Augment items. And while the auto attack slow will help him stack his passive up, his Q already has a slow, and he has a stun through autoing enough times. So interested to see if they can make good use of that. So I think let's get into game production. Masagi! So looking at runes, items, pretty standard. We do have the Dark Harvest on Holk of the Wise as opposed to the Glacial last time. Zyra more of a damage champion than Morgana, who's very much sort of a CC pick champion. But this does suggest that he wants to be a little more aggressive, or feels that he can afford to be a bit more threatening. Relic Shield on Braum is interesting. Braum only has 1 AP ratio on his ult, so I do see most Braums take steel shoulder guards just to help you last hit. But looks like the teleport, fleet footwork, Doran's shield on the Kassadin makes sense. He's looking to survive and scale. Doran's shield on Tryndamere is interesting. Tryndamere doesn't really... I don't feel like you need Doran's shield against Malphite unless you want to just like completely ignore his damage, because like with Doran's blade you'll have the damage, and you'll still have the lifesteal to kind of sustain through his damage. Oh, they do force the flash out of Zaya?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
Oh, was that accidental? I was looking top lane.
Yeah, that was an accidental.
That's a fat finger. Ganked by your own fingers, man. Am I right?
I know. Feels bad. Feels bad.
So both junglers are going to be starting bot side. Pretty common. Usually get a better leash bot side, though I do think that I have seen some interesting plays based around choosing where to start based on damage type. Camps on the red side of the jungle are generally more AoE based, lots of small monsters, whereas jungle camps on the blue side are fewer, more powerful monsters, so it's better for single target champions. And monsters on the blue side have less MR and thus take more magic damage, while monsters on the red side have less armor and take more physical damage. Yeah, Berserker just being aggressive there. He knows that he can sort of walk up to the Malphite and start hitting him, and it's going to be hard for Merstomatic to really answer. Merstomatic took W, which is interesting because it'll give him more auto attack damage and help him last hit. But it's going to mean that he doesn't have the auto attack slow. He does take the Q there. Did he take? All right, I'm going to say this. I don't believe that he should be queuing the Tryndamere. Like at all, really, because he didn't take mana flow. One of the advantages of Malphite's Q is that it's very good at stacking up mana flow ban, but he didn't take it. He went Inspiration secondary. And the thing is that Malphite's Q, particularly early levels, has a really terrible mana to damage ratio. It's basically 1-to-1 on a champion who doesn't have a lot of mana to begin with. And given that Tryndamere has the enhanced regen from Doran's shield, giving him extra 6 health every 5 seconds, plus health regen after taking damage from a champion, you're probably just going to be burning more mana than you really get in damage here. Like, use the Q to last hit, but I don't think poking with it is probably a good bet here.
Yeah, you do see a lot of them W max. You get so much armor from your W as a Malphite with it as well that the Q is just wasting too much mana resource for you and makes it really hard for you as well. You do see the engage coming up from Leona bot lane. I'm not sure if they're going to catch a trade. I'm also looking at the mini-map here as well. You do see a skirmish happening in the mid lane as well. Here's the engage onto the Zyra. Big damage from Tristana. Does get the first blood. She's going to be going on to the Kassadin. It is going to be enough damage, but now she's in turret, but then hops out away. Bot lane, you saw a nice trade here, and I think on the side of Gneiss guys, they came out on top with that trade, just kind of having more health and just really almost forcing the Leona out from the Vigar.
Yeah, and it looks like the top river fight looks like it's going to go so good for Holo the Wise. Holk is very low. Holo is like, he's probably in that bush, and he just throws his combo in there. Almost kills Holk. Probably should have, to be honest. But Holk manages to smite the crab, which is close to them. If he'd waited for the crab to be farther away, Holk would not have been able to smite it and would have died. But the smite heals Holk enough that he doesn't die. The mid laners roam in, and Merstomatic roams in, and Winged Nation gets 4 jumps in that fight. He puts the bomb on Holo the Wise, jumps in, gets massive damage and sets the bomb off, jumps again to follow, gets another jump when Holo dies, and then gets another jump to confirm the kill on Zyaniel, and then jumps out when Zyaniel dies. And so, like, he burns all of his mana, but you now have a 101 Tristana, building lethality. My guess would be Sanguine Blade here.
Oh no, you're in danger, Elise. There's a Zyra there, and Zyra actually coming in from counter jungling as well. You don't really expect the Zyra to counter jungle you, but you do see the immediate response from the side of Holk and friends. Going in, there's the Goomba herself. Goomba stomping the team. She gets the 1, she gets the 2, is she gonna get the 3? This Tristana is massive this game.
Yeah, that goes from 101 to 302 real fast. I don't actually know where she picked up. Oh, I don't actually know where they picked up the other kill. She must have helped with maybe the kill on Holo. At first it looks okay. Itumbo runs low on mana, and the Braum shield blocks a lot of damage. Plus early game Veigar, not the most damaging character. But the rotation from Winged Nation just turns that fight completely. Picks up more kills, get a kill onto the... Oh, going in again. Massive damage.
Massive damage. Almost being able to completely shut Zyaniel out of lane here. This Tristana has been a participant in every single one of these kills this game. And I don't think it's going to stop.
Gets a little greedy there. I think maybe he didn't... Maybe he meant to throw the bomb during the jump or overestimated his ult. Notably, Buster Shot does do magic damage. And Kassadin does take 15% reduced magic damage. It's his passive. So probably overestimated the damage just a little bit. And Zyaniel does live with his life. He's going to be able to get some farm here. Should just be able to walk away and back. He is going for the Tear of the Goddess. I'm wondering if he goes for Rod of Ages, which is sort of the double stacking build. Really strong late game, but it's going to take him a long time to get there. And it may not be time that the Gneiss guys have. Because Credible Hulk and friends have come out really strong with Winged Nation on this Tristana. And I love the pick. because Tristana can really bully characters that are not strong early, particularly mages. And they're like, look, Winged Nation was doing real good last game. Let's put him on something where he is just going to hard carry. And they picked the Tristana, and he's doing it. He's looking for Holo the Wise in his own jungle here.
Yeah, the Wing Nation just being an absolute bully in every single lane. The explosion's gonna go off and gets the kill onto the Zyra. They're gonna be looking onto Dragon here. You see Wing Nation in the jungle. Caston was roaming up trying to put down some wards, but has to immediately leave. As soon as you see Wing Nation, you have to literally take flight away from it because the Tristana's just going to absolutely just blow you up. And really impressive performance by her.
Yes, and Gissi is trying to wait there to let Braum jump to him, but unfortunately Braum does go down and probably would not be able to get out because of the Vagar cage anyways. So yeah, the Tristana's 5-0, and she's just sort of headhunting at this point. Notably, the Tristana bomb does about 400 damage if it's fully stacked, which is just insane at this point in the game because, like, that's a third of Kassadin's health. It's more than half of Holo the Wise's health. Yeah, a third of Trindamir's health. Like, everyone on their team will lose 30% just to a full stacked bomb, and with the auto attacks that are in the W that are used to set it up, like, Winged Nation can probably one combo anyone except Berserker, and Berserker will have to ult to survive. I'd also like to give a shout out to Merstomatic. Even though, like, this is an Ignite Tryndamere. Ignite Tryndamere kills people at level 2. Tryndamere passive is when will he randomly start winning lane, and at some point he gets 3 crits, he ignites you, and he spins away. But he's got the Bramble Vest. He is, behind 14 CS, but not that much considering you're a Malphite. Like, Merstomatic is definitely being safe enough in this lane to do what he needs to do in the late game and just be that tank.
Yeah, you do see him actually on the mid lane here, waiting for just an ulti to go in. But the Zyra is pretty defensive. They do get the flash E off of her as well. Ulti coming in from the Malphite, taking out Zyra. Good pick, and then the Malphite shall leave, go back to his lane. Tryndamere looking for a kill on Elise here. You just see the engage bot side. I like the combo from the Leona ult with the Vygar E into the cage there, but the Xayah with massive damage, just completely ignoring the CC effects from the Vygar, from the Leona, and just coming in hot with their ultimate and just stunning him, taking him out, and it might be a double kill going over to Braum here, but Leona's pretty tanky. He's gonna get out of that relatively well. And just, we continue to see mid lane, that's the pressure we see from Winged Nation, the utter damage that's going to be inputted. And it's just going to get worse from here.
Yeah, Zingiski does use the ult really well in that fight. Notably, during her ult, Xayah is untargetable, but not intangible, as it were, so she can't walk through terrain. It's not dashing, she's just moving normally. She's just untargetable while doing it.
Yeah, and then top lane, like you were saying before, impressive performance on the side of the Malphite here. Really just being super safe, doing what he needs to do, is able to just stay kind of almost relatively even, kind of falling short with the CS, but coming in hot with some kills there. And Holk doing some great just overall jungling, going in, getting the picks that they need to, and continuing the utter reign of terror that is the Tristana.
So I'm interested to see where Tristana goes from here, because she is going for extra lethality. And the Sanguine Blade makes a lot of sense. It gives you a large amount of attack speed when you're alone, and it's an excellent split pushing item. And
Whoa! Big damage coming out from the Tristana, getting a huge combo off of the Zyra. Zyra landing her own combo off, only doing half damage to the Tristana though. Just Tristana showing the Sanguine Blade power, being alone, doing that duelist that she needs to be. Seeing this build, you might even just think that she's just going to be going off to a solo lane into the mid game just to get some extra turrets, get some extra turret plates, and letting her team do what her team does best in team fight.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, I don't know if, like, the traditional, like, Bork crit build is necessarily needed here. Like, going essentially Assassin Tristana might be pretty viable, just because, like, who's gonna build tank on the side of nice guys like Braum? You know, maybe you get like a Zanya's Hourglass somewhere else, but like you don't need like tank killing power because Braum is gonna be, you know, with his team. Merstomatic could chase this if he wants to, but he decides not to. He doesn't go in with the ult.
Yeah, don't want to be too greedy when you can just try and be safe, get that extra CS back to almost even again. But the grasp on the Malphite, that's where you see it coming big. When you see more level up onto the W here. Sorry, we do see an engage bot lane here. Nice engage going on to the Vigar, but the Vigar immediately shutting down the Xayah before she's able to kill him. The Braum's going to be flashing in, getting that big damage onto Vigar. You see a mid lane fight erupting as well. The Elise is going to be going on to the Kassadin, and he might fall here. That does fall to the Zyra plant with her E there, and Tryndamere was there as just like a incentive that, yeah, they're going to take her out, going to make sure that they're try and get some kills where they can, because right now, if you let this Tristana keep rolling like she's going, it's going to be really hard to even make any sort of comeback.
Yeah, and the issue there is I think Holk just tried to come down from the rappel too fast, and so he came down essentially where he was, but Kassadin had already blinked back over the wall, so he wasn't able to follow, and just the Berserker and Holo the Wise do pick up that kill there, which does delay the dragon push.
Oh, immediately onto Zyra, and flashing away just to watch for that Zyra ulti, but does land onto both members of the side of Incredible Hulk and friends. Nice Leona ulti onto two people here. She's low on mana. She's gonna risk her life, but here comes the Vigar. Here comes the Elise for the cleanup crew. Do end up taking out the Xayah. There's gonna be the stomp from the Tristana. They're gonna be looking at Kassadin now, and possibly even another dragon.
Yeah, and notably, Tristana will still have the bonus attack speed because Sanguine Blade, you lose the bonus attack speed and lethality when multiple enemy champions are nearby, but not when allies are nearby. It works fine when you've got your team with you. Looking at the itemizations, CasualEAL did choose to go for the double stacking. I don't play Kassadin. I'll admit that I probably would go for it because I tend to greed for late game builds as well, but I am concerned that, like, the game might be over before he gets to his second scaling item, and certainly before he can get to, you know, really late game form. Like, Tristana's got 2 lethality. She's got 31 lethality, currently negating 26 armor. So, like, most of the armor from Seeker's Arm Guard is gone for Holo the Wise. Like, the bonus armor, the only one who could really withstand the Tristana for any length of time might be Braum, and even that I'm not sure about.
Yeah, you just, on the side of Nice Guys, they have a really good team comp for scaling. But when the Tristana and all of them just come in hot with the, like, early aggression from the Elise too as well, and getting those extra curls in the mid-river fight was a huge turning point in this game that just, you can snowball all the way to mid-game, and so they don't get the chance to scale. But if they do, you could see a huge turnaround.
Yeah, one of the issues I am seeing for Nice Guys, though, is this Tryndamere pick, in that Tryndamere is not ahead. Because Tryndamere, no matter, like, a lot of people hate him. I don't like him. My support really hates him. Largely because no matter what Tryndamere is doing, he's just going to sit in the side lane and push forever. And it's really hard to deal with if you don't have a champion that can match him in the side lane, but the Tristana totally can. Like, she'll just jump away from him. She'll chase him if he tries to ult and run. Like, and Merstomatic is very easily able to match him in the side lane. Like, they're not really worried about the Tryndamere splitting because they can counter the split with effective split pushers of their own.
Yeah, and you do see the nice damage. Braum ulti going out, Malphite ulti going in, getting the double knock-up, the kill going over to Malphite there. Down goes Braum. They're going to be looking for tower and some extra money in their pockets.
Yeah, this should be a pretty easy pickup. Merstomatic did take... Actually, I think they have both demolishes, so that's a very easy pickup. So it's now 4 towers to 0, 16 to 5, almost an 8k, just over an 8k gold lead for the side of Nice Guys. So they're very much... Sorry, for Incredible Hulk and friends. So they're very much in command of this lane. They might be looking for the second tower. Kassadin's here, but I think they're going to be able to get this without too much difficulty.
They do land the stun onto the Tryndamere. He is going to be ulting in and going to attack onto the Tristana, but the Malphite's going to pick him up here, and you do see Braum protecting his Kassadin. And just the sustainability coming out from Malphite has been big against the Tryndamere. Building the itemization of the Thornmail first buy is just like you were saying, you just match the Tryndamere and you don't lose the game.
Yeah, I think he could go for a Sunfire too, but I think the Iceborne is probably what you want here. Just be Iceborne, or maybe Abyssal Mask if you're concerned about Zyra's damage. Just because Malphite's mana costs are really high, and if you don't have Mana Flow Ban, not going mana items causes you to run out of mana real fast. So Iceborne will take care of that. Plus, it'll give him more wave clear, help him match the mirror, give him CDR, all things Malphite really wants. After this, I'd probably expect to see either Sunfire or some kind of MR itemization.
Yeah, it should be a dragon coming up soon. About 1 minute and 15 seconds. You're going to see a huge reset happen. Kind of just push all the lanes. Tech split situation. Push the lanes, get objectives, and then win the game after you crack open that base. Tristana is very good at cracking open bases just so she can land her E onto turrets and just makes them, just like champions this game, explode.
Yeah, and with the Infernal Soul, there's going to be even more explosions. Like, Tristana and Veigar just get tremendous benefit out of that raw AD increase. Tristana's building a lot of AD. Oh, going in.
Going on to the Zyra. Ulti out from the Zyra and gonna be flashed, but immediately responded back with the 2 auto attacks into the nice explosion fade away from the Tristana. And she's huge. It's a 10-0
Tristana.
I can't stop talking about it because you just saw what can happen if you let the Tristana get carried away into, there he goes. And,
yeah, like,
and now we're gonna see the engage onto Zyra, onto Braum there, ulti and E coming out from the Veigar and Leona with the extra damage from Elise. Should easily pick up those 2 kills there. And now we have dragons spawning. So they got their couple picks. Now they're getting some major objectives. They're gonna go in for another lane push. Everyone gets some extra money, get another back going, and then possibly even into a Baron into the game.
Yeah, and Wings Nation notably has more than double the kills of Nice Guys. Like, he has 12 to their 5. He can basically just kill anyone he wants. And I want to highlight, I think this was an incredibly good draft from Credible Holk and Friends. Because in all my time playing League, I've seen that, like, if you draft too much early game or too much scaling, both of those are bad. Too much scaling means your lanes all lose, your jungler can't gank anywhere, or if you have a scaling jungler, your jungler doesn't want to gank. Too much early means that you are at risk of falling off and losing if things take too long.
Yeah, I really like this team comp that they're pulling out here. And then you see the Tryndamere having to ult and have to eat away just for his life. Tristana doing massive damage, the Elise doing a massive damage herself. Tristana solo killing in the fight the Zyra. The Braum has to try and get away, but just the cage from the Veigar is not going to be able for his escape there. Goomba Stomp coming out from the Tristana, going on to the Kassadin, and that's a triple kill going over to Tristana, getting yet another inhibitor. They are going to have quick death timers, so they might grab a couple turrets, but it might not be game here. Tryndamere falling to the Tristana. The Leona falling to the towers. Here comes Xayah. She's gonna try and just get something here, but she dies to the Malphite underneath tower. They're all so low, but the Nexus is right there. It's so close. They're so close to victory. But here comes the Xayah. She's gonna be trying just to poke them away, and you really don't want any one of them to get that shut down on any of these carries here. So I think it's a safe bet for all of them to leave and reset and use that money that they have a lot of in their pockets right now.
Yeah, Wings Nation has almost 4,000 gold.
Wow, incredible performance. It's really, really hard on the side of Nice Guys. Being in the scaling team comp, it's really hard just to stop the utter, just like almost steamroll effect coming out from Incredible Hulk and friends.
Yeah, because what you see from Credible Hulk is essentially their early game picks of the Elise and the Tristana did what they needed to do. Elise had some good early ganks, did get invaded a few times, which was a little rough, but like the Tristana popped off, got that early game advantage, and their scaling picks, the Veigar and the Malphite, didn't get bullied and have now scaled to be really tanky and really damaging. And whereas on the other side, you have your early game pick of like the Tryndamere not being ahead. I mean, no one's ahead really, but like you needed the Tryndamere to win lane and probably the Xayah Braum to win lane because otherwise you're not going to give Kassadin enough time to scale effectively.
You just see the Yomu's Ghost Blade coming out from Tristana, and she's ready just to pop it and make anything she sees explode, like this Zyra once more, getting the ulti out before she dies, but it's a little bit too late for the Zyra there. The Tristana, being so massive, can literally hop into underneath turrets, out of turrets, kill things, get out, get in. She is the assassin that she's always wanted to be, firing away with her dragon, and that should be the end of the game here. Gonna be a nice cleanup for the side of Incredible Hulk and friends.
Yeah, this should be pretty clean cleanup. He went back and full bought Ghostblade and completed Edge of Night and got another pickaxe. Big Malphite ult.
Yeah, big Malphite ult, but it's gonna be the death of Nice Guys as the turrets fall, as the Nexus falls, and that's it. Tristana never died. 17-0.
Yeah.
Tristana never died.
Still more than double Nice Guys kills.
Yeah,
like
incredible.
really well played by by Credible Hulk and friends. The drop, the play was phenomenal. Just all around, really good from them.
Yeah, and what would you say for this game? I think we're both pretty unanimous on the MVP, but
yeah, gotta be the Tristana.
Oh yeah, 100%. What about Ace here?
I'm gonna give Ace to Hole of the Wise. He got killed a lot in his own jungle by the Tristana, but the early game for being a Zyra jungle was like really good. Like he walks in and invades the Elise at her Crux. Like who else is gonna do that? Like Hole of the Wise clearly has a lot of experience playing these off-meta junglers, and he knows that a lot of other people don't. So he can do things that seem like terrible ideas and that seem like they aren't going to work and make it work, because it's like, who's going to expect the Zyra jungle to invade an Elise, an early game powerhouse at her Crux? No one. But Holo knows that no one's going to expect that, and he knows that I also do enough damage to kill Elise at her Crux, so he does it. So I think that it kind of became one of those issues where one of the laners just gets such an outsized lead that it then snowballs into the jungle. But I think Holo can do a lot of things that other people don't know or don't expect. So I'm going to give him the ace.
Yeah, I agree as well. It was really unfortunate having just the massive Tristana just on you in the jungle all the time, getting those lots of death. But you were saying before, like the kind of like off meta picks always interest me, and I really like to see how they perform. Unlucky this game, but the early game performance was incredible as well. What are your takeaways from this series as a whole? What do you think we're going to see more of, and what would you want to see more from these teams into upcoming games?
For Credible Hulk, I think continue drafting the way you did in Game 2. Give Winged Nation champions that are like hard carries. I don't want to see like the Malzahar guy. Like put him on something that kills people and takes towers and is dope. And I liked the scaling tank pick for Maristamatic more than I liked the set. He feels like a player who's very comfortable chilling in bad matchups. In sort of LCS speak, he's comfortable playing weak side, and I think that you can play to that, which is there's a lot of tanks that have weak laning phases but are dynamite in the mid to late game. Ornn, Maokai, Malphite, or even scaling sort of Juggernaut and Bruiser, something like a Yorick, maybe, where you don't have to win lane on these champions to be good. And in some respect, you kind of want to sit back and scale. And I think that being able to have a player who can play weak side and let your jungle put attention elsewhere is a good thing to have. For Nice Guys, I think that you Zyaniel is good, but you need to make sure that you set him up for success. Because, like, Cassidy is not going to win lane versus Tristana. And I don't know if the Tristana was a counter pick because we don't have the pro drafts for this match. But, like, the Talia was great. But I think you need to make sure he's on a matchup that's not just going to lose lane. And try to make sure that he gets either a stronger early pick or just gets enough jungle support.
I agree. I agree with all of that. And this was our last match of the day here. Do you have any final words you would like to say to everyone here, Phoenix?
Nautilus jungle's coming back.
Dude, I think that's some foreshadowing right there.
We have not played Nautilus jungle, but I play Nautilus jungle and it's not terrible. It's doable at this point.
Yeah. I would personally like to thank our casting crew and team, our all casters today. Great performance by everyone. Great games all around here. Thank you, everyone part of the SEAL community and everyone in the chat for joining us today. We will try and be back tomorrow, and can't wait to see you there.